Hello viewers, in this video I will speak about the Indian healthcare system and should Indian doctors leave India to look for better opportunities elsewhere. When you make or watch YouTube videos talking about healthcare systems in different parts of the world, the YouTube algorithm starts recommending videos which it thinks I will find interesting. All the YouTube algorithm wants you, the viewer, to do is continue watching YouTube. They don't care what you watch as long as you are watching it on YouTube. Of course, there are rules regarding copyright violations, and in countries like India, if you say objectionable things, you can even run the risk of being at the receiving end of lawsuits. A few days back, I had made a comparison video talking about how people become doctors in the United States of America, in the United Kingdom versus how they become doctors in India. Link will be in the description of this video. In that video, I had talked about how the minimum duration of becoming a doctor in India is 5.5 years, while the training period in the US and the United Kingdom is at least twice the same duration. I am oversimplifying here, of course. If you want a detailed description of the journey of a school student towards becoming a specialist doctor, feel free to check out my video titled "So You Want to Become a Specialist Doctor?" Now, I don't have millions of subscribers on YouTube like many successful YouTube content creators. I also don't have the best technical setup or even technical knowledge to make good quality YouTube videos. Whenever I watch a YouTube video talking about how to make good YouTube videos, I can't help but conclude that the domain of YouTube content creation may well be full of a lot of con men. What I do have, however, is experience of becoming a doctor in India. I recently came across a video made by a successful YouTube content creator and a doctor. You'll be surprised how many of this nature exist, people who are doctors as well as successful YouTubers. This particular doctor is now working in the United States of America. He said in his video that he had decided to leave India despite a good rank in NEET PG because he had seen his parents, who are both doctors, working tirelessly, practically not taking any vacations and without really earning beyond what was sufficient to support their family. He went on to illustrate some very valid points, issues that do plague the Indian healthcare system and the professional career of doctors in India. This, by the way, is not an aberration. Many such videos exist on YouTube where Indian doctors who have studied in reputed medical colleges in India and subsequently they have left India now criticize the healthcare system of India. Anyway, back to the video I was talking about. This particular doctor in his video said doctors in India are, among other things, overworked. Some have to work 7 days in a week, underpaid, susceptible to acts of violence in the workplace, in competition with Ayush doctors, and reservations. Reservations for me is like the movie Rashomon by the famous Japanese director Akira Kurosawa. I do not want to sidestep this controversial issue, viewers, but my uninformed opinion on this issue is that one should only criticize caste-based reservations in India if one is also willing to condemn the caste system in India in the same breath. As validation of his points, the successful YouTuber shared images of several comments he had received from several Indian doctors, both young and experienced, who are looking for guidance from him to leave India. Now, I must clarify this. I don't for a moment doubt the goodwill of this person. He says he wants to be the senior many of us did not have in medical college. Fair point. I benefited a lot from guidance from strangers who were doctors, the guidance that I received on YouTube when I was preparing for MRCS. It is also a big reason why I share my opinion almost daily on YouTube now. Feel free to browse through the more than 150 videos that are uploaded on my channel so far. I understand why Indian doctors would find it particularly appealing to leave India. I also have entertained this idea many times. In fact, the issue I talk about most on this channel is how to make the transition from India to the United Kingdom via the membership of Royal College of Surgeons route. But there is a criticism I have encountered to my videos and I would like to acknowledge that criticism in this video. Are my videos encouraging every doctor to leave India to seek greener pastures in the UK or the US or in some other country? Should we as doctors in India use our considerable intellect to figure out which country in the world treats their doctors best, then pack our bags and leave for that country? Should we only think about our future generations and their well-being? Should patients in India also work hard to accumulate the means to seek treatment in those countries which treat their doctors best? As doctors, do we have no obligation towards treating our fellow citizens? Or should we make a cold calculation and prioritize our careers over everything else? I don't know the answer to these questions, viewers, and I find it refreshing to see videos on YouTube where people seem to provide definite answers to these questions. Maybe they have the courage of their convictions that I lack, or perhaps they don't analyze things as much as I do. I am not saying that brain drain and muscle drain are not a problem in India. There are fundamental issues in Indian society that makes living quite difficult for everyone, not just doctors. My simple supposition is that each country may be having their own issues. Are we certain that in deciding to emigrate from India, we are not going from a metaphorical frying pan to fire? Again, I don't know the answers to these questions, but I do want to ask the successful YouTuber a few questions of my own. How did you become a doctor in India? If you studied in a private medical college, how did your doctor parents afford the fees of a private medical college? If the fees was affordable, was it designed to be kept affordable so that you could gain the knowledge to get a great score in USMLE? How did you bear the considerable expenses associated with USMLE? Now let me share my experience of medical education in India. During the 4.5 years of MBBS, my tuition fees was 750 rupees per month. During post-graduation, that is MS, the annual tuition fees was in the ballpark of 10,000 Indian rupees. And no, I did not benefit from any form of quota. I was plain lucky, just like the people who win the lottery. I understand that most Indian doctors cannot hope to make as much money as their American counterparts. But is money everything? This desire to emigrate almost seems to me like a modern day gold rush, which by no means was a bad thing. I am not making a value judgment here. But there are some things that do force me to wonder. Which aspect of studying in India, being taught by overworked, underpaid Indian doctors? Remember, teachers in medical colleges are also doctors, receiving training while trying to understand the woes of Indian patients traveling from different parts of the country, finding a safe spot to save ourselves from suffering physical harm at the hands of outraged patients only too often, becoming acutely aware of the paucity of specialist doctors and good medical infrastructure outside big Indian cities, encountering competition from other doctors, both certified and uncertified, which adversely affects our careers, by the way, leads us to decide to find a better country to ply our trade. I guess it boils down to the basic fight or flight response, which is baked uniquely into each of our individual psyche. Let me share two anecdotes from my own life. Long-term viewers of my 6-month-old channel might know that the most watched video on this channel is titled MRCS after MBBS. In that video, I had shared a picture of the place where I was working in while I was preparing for MRCS Part A. I had shared this picture to highlight that every Indian doctor can easily pass MRCS, irrespective of their circumstances. This picture was of a small village in a not too developed part of India. And believe me, people travel for hours to reach even this very small village to get healthcare. There was one particular patient who had a dead insect inside their ear for several days, but no doctor was present in their immediate vicinity to get this insect removed. Now, upon hearing this story after removing this insect, should we decide, let's not continue treating patients in this location? let's treat patients only in a place where cutting-edge research and development opportunities exist, such as the Massachusetts Eye and Ear Infirmary in the United States of America. Coming back to research and development, let me share the second anecdote. When the first iPhone was released in 2007, it took some time, in fact years, for it to reach Indian shores. In fact, today we are all familiar in India with how to use YouTube. I had started using YouTube in the first decade of the 21st century by sneaking out and spending 10 rupees to surf the internet in a cyber cafe for an exhilarating 1 hour. I started watching YouTube at that time, and probably someone like MKBHD started making YouTube videos back then. Both of us approached YouTube in two completely different ways. I saw it as a means of getting free entertainment. He probably saw it as an outlet to share his opinion. The point is, maybe the first innovation happens in a country like the USA, but it ultimately reaches the doorsteps of people in India as well. We live in an increasingly interconnected world, as was illustrated perhaps best or worst by what happened in December 2019. Cochlear implant, in my humble opinion, the greatest breakthrough in surgery so far, was developed in the United States of America, but is now provided free of cost through more than one government scheme in India to people of India. I have a video on cochlear implant on this channel. Please feel free to check it out. I see billboards talking about robotic surgery in the town where I was born in India. Technology, internet connectivity is leveling the playing field at breakneck speed. So let's not paint a doomsday picture in India right away, preferably even less if we have already left India. I know nuanced opinion is not sensational, perhaps not even good for the YouTube algorithm, but I have always maintained that the decision to emigrate from India is an entirely personal decision and should only be arrived at after carefully weighing up the various pros and cons. This is my answer to the question I often encounter. How is my channel different from all the other channels helping people prepare for MRCS? I don't encourage anyone to leave India. MRCS is an exam, just an exam, upon passing which several doors do open up. Choosing to walk through these doors, however, is an entirely personal decision, better left to each individual to figure out on their own. In fact, many people have even reached out to me and come to the conclusion that MRCS is not worth the effort, and it is a conclusion I never disagree with. I am not here to influence anyone. I don't want to use flowery language, but sometimes we should remember John F. Kennedy's famous words, but also remember to not just apply it to the USA when we ask not what our country can do for us, but what we can do for our country. Thank you for watching this video. Take care, bye bye, and please don't forget to be awesome.